What's up, Brewheads? Welcome to another Brewthirty, where I try a whiskey and pair it with a toy. We're doing something a little different today. Normally I do a beer, but I've been promising that I'm going to do some spirits. And I thought today would be a good day on my day off to sample this new 3-pack sampler that I got. Today we're going to be trying the Monsters of Smoke from Ardbeg. For those of you guys aren't familiar with Ardbeg, it's a Scottish distillery. They make a lot of different blends, and I really enjoy Ardbeg. I've had a few different bottles of their scotch, and I love it. Now, listen, I know there's a lot of people out there that maybe aren't scotch fans. Maybe they're bourbon fans, or maybe they're rye fans. I have an equal love of all three different whiskeys. Scotch, I really like it a lot, probably about as much as I like bourbon, and I love the rye whiskeys as well. But today we're going to be sampling a scotch, and I won't go into all the entomology of scotch, what makes it a scotch. If you want to look that up, you do so on your own time. I'm not here to educate you, I'm just here to try stuff. So, this is the Monsters of Smoke. I've been looking at this for a while. I got it at a local liquor store. It's a 3-pack sampler of some of Ardbeg's signature whiskeys. On the back it says, Ardbeg, we bottles monster flavors. These incredible monsters of the whiskey world have been sighted in glasses around the globe, wreaking flavor, trampling taste buds, and startling senses wherever they go. So this features 3 small sampler bottles. 3 200 milliliter bottles to be exact, and they are as follows. You're going to get the Ardbeg Enoa Isle Single Malt Scotch Whiskey, aged, can't really read on there, but we'll pull the bottles and check it out. Actually, we'll just pull the bottles out here in a second and we'll look at those. But we'll go over each. Here we go. We've got on the side here, it tells us what each bottle is. So we'll pull up each bottle. We'll read the description and we'll taste it. But before we get going, we're going to pair it with none other than the Scotchman himself, my WWE Superstars LJN Roddy Piper figure. This is mine from when I was a kid. He used to fight Hulk Hogan all the time in my LJN ring in the steel cage most of the time. And I've had him ever since 1984 when these came out. I love Roddy Piper. He passed away, obviously. But he's also in one of my favorite movies, They Live by John Carpenter, which has a lot of relativity to what's going on today. Hopefully we can all get a pair of sunglasses and wake up to what's going on in the world. But anyways, I thought it'd be great to pair these scotches with the Roddy Piper, the rowdy one. And we'll go ahead and pop off Roddy's kilt and get ready to wrestle some scotch. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, guys. So we're going to start at the bottom of this box. And you can see, like I mentioned, there's a nice description here. I'll read off each one as we go along on this tasting. So it says, from beneath the peat bogs they came. So, full disclosure, I'm a big fan of peaty and smoky scotches. I like them better than the lesser varieties. I tend to really gravitate towards scotches and even bourbons that have had a smoky flavor added to them. And I love the really peaty scotches. Peat Monster is one of my favorites. Ardbeg obviously is a great one. And I can't think of some others I've had off the top of my head, but I've had several. Not everybody's cup of tea. A lot of people don't like the smoky peatiness. They said it's almost like drinking a campfire. And those people are pussies. Plain and simple. So anyways, we're going to start at the bottom. And we're going to start with the Ardbeg Enoa. I believe that's how you pronounce it. We'll look at it here in a second. It says, in an attempt to tame it, Ardbeg Enoa was captured and held in a giant gathering vat at the Ardbeg distillery, but it soon broke free, weaving its way through the island and beyond. In this wee bottle discovered a sweet and subtle smoke that scuttles all over the palate. So from the description here, I would assume this is a pretty, I guess, approachable smoky or peaty scotch. So it's probably not going to be super heavy. like some of the really peaty varieties. You can see here on the bottle, we've got a nice little Halloween decor, I guess. You got a cobweb, kind of an orange font. It says a web of flavors. So it's 200 milliliters, 46% alcohol by volume, Ardbeg Distillery, Limited, Isle of Islay. I guess that's how you say it. Blah, 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 blah. So to sample this, obviously we're going to use a dram glass. For those of you guys who aren't familiar, the little fancy glass that everybody likes to drink out of to make themselves feel better than you. Not that I want to feel better than you today, because I'm definitely not. We're going to try it. So we're going to pour a little bit in here. Now listen, again, if you're looking for somebody who's going to sample this and give you a bunch of notes, shut this off right now. You're in the wrong tasting. I'm just going to tell you what I think of it. I have absolutely zero experience, what are they called, sommeliers or whatever, in the wine world. I have zero experience tasting and letting people know what these things taste like. I just taste them. If I like them, that's how it is. I'm a blue collar, every man's taster. So we'll pour ourselves a teeny bit of this. Swirl it around. I had a recent bourbon tasting with several of my buddies. I guess it was a spirit tasting. And we all laughed because apparently when you smell these, you're not supposed to stick your nose down in it. I saw that on a documentary. My wife reminded me that we were doing it all incorrectly, because I guess it can mess up something. I don't know. It's not like smelling salts though. So anyways, let's take a drink. I can smell a little bit of the peatiness as I hold it about 4 inches from my nose. So we'll take a little sip. So right off the bat, it's a very subtle to no burn at all. It's a lower alcohol, obviously. It's not a barrel proof whiskey. And it has a nice, like it described, a nice sweet, subtle smoke flavor. So there's really not too much smoke to it. A little bit of peat in my opinion, but it's very, very smooth and approachable. If you were going to get into scotches and you wanted to get into a little more smokier ones from your standard single malt scotches, I would suggest maybe trying this one here. It's a really approachable, like super subtle smoky one. The sweetness definitely does come through, as that is the case with a lot of the Ardbeg scotches I've tasted. There's a nice sweet smokiness to them, which I really appreciate in a lot of these scotches and whiskeys. But this is actually really, really good. I think it's really mild. I think it would go really, really well with a cigar or just on its own. I would not probably add a rock of ice to this. It doesn't even need it. Like I said, it's only 46%, and you could drink a lot of this, actually. You could probably drink this whole bottle. It'll probably make you an alcoholic. I wouldn't suggest doing it, but you definitely could. Yeah, just a real smooth scotch. I like this a lot. Yeah. We'll go ahead and set it off to the side. We'll wash our glass out, and we'll come back and try the next one. All right, welcome back, guys. So next up, we have the Wee Beastie. Again, reading the side of the box. It is said to be a feisty young creature, untamed by age. Witnesses have spoken of its distinctive nose and formidable bite. Intensely raw and mightily smoky, it's the youngest of its kind ever to stalk the whiskey world. So this is the Wee Beastie, aged 5 years, 47.4% alcohol by volume, non-chill filtered. I believe this is non-chill filter as well. The first one we tried, I believe this is a blend. This is definitely one that's been aged 5 years, so this ought to be a lot better than that one. Not saying that was bad, because that was great, so I really expect this to be better. So we'll go ahead and pour these. Now, like I always do with my beer reviews, if I was trying to be super fancy, I would get a shot glass or some kind of fancy pour, but I'm just going to go ahead and eyeball like a ½ ounce in all these. Last thing I want to do is get hammered on whiskey down here. Again, 200 milliliter bottle. Let's try it, see if we can. Now, so I mentioned that the first one had a real subtle smokiness. This peaty smokiness comes through a lot more when you hold it about 4 inches from your nose. It's a nice clear color. You're not going to get like the really caramely colors of bourbon because that's a way different, makeup. But a lot of these scotches are a nice, almost super light straw color. I really like them. So let's try a drink of this. A little more of a bite. So it's a little higher proof, 47.4%, not very much, but a little more of a bite. But as it cascades across your tongue, it gives a nice, really smooth flavor. Not nearly as sweet as the first one, but way more smoky peaty, which I really like that. Very, very smooth, like I said, a little higher alcohol, a little more of a bite. You might add a rock with this if you wanted to. If you're going to drink a few ounces of it, might mellow it out a little bit. But sometimes I think adding the ice to these smokier scotches, some people feel like it makes the smoke more intense and flavorful. I don't really know if that's true or not. I don't really add a lot of ice to my whiskeys, but this is a really good one. This is a very smooth one, a little more of a bite, a nice smoky flavor. This would go really, really well with a cigar as well. I would probably pair this with a more mild cigar, like a Dominican Puro or some of your Ecuadorian blends. I would definitely put it with a Cuban, but not probably a Nicaraguan. If you guys don't know a lot about cigars, I've smoked cigars for a while. The Nicaraguans tend to be very, very heavy and peppery, spicy, and that spice of the Nicaraguans might have a tendency to kill the smoky flavor. But we're not talking about cigars. We're talking about scotch today. So super smooth and smoky. I really like this one a lot. Like I said, not nearly as sweet as the first one. More smoky, more peaty, a little more of a bite. So let's pause the video and come back and do the last one. All right, gang, welcome back. So the last one here is the top of the list. It is the Ardbeg 10 years old, Big Untamed Ultimate. Emerging from decades of slumber in the fading years of the 20th century, it quickly made its presence felt in the world of a single malt, unleashing its smoky intensity on all who encountered it. Some call it big and untamed, others know it simply as the ultimate. Whichever way you look at it, this is a full-grown flavor. So this is a 10-year aged Scotch whiskey. So this has to probably be the best tasting of the three, if I had to guess. It is 46% alcohol by volume, same as the first one. It's called the Original Giant, and 10 years old, again, non-chill filtered. It looks pretty cool. The bottle's pretty neat. All of these on the back of all of these bottles, well, we'll talk about them. Talk about that after we taste it. Let's go ahead and pour this thing and see what we think of it. All right. Let's move all those there in front of Roddy. Again, holding it 4 inches from my nose or so, I get a nice peaty, smoky flavor. It has really nice lacing on the glass. I guess, you take it and you swirl it around to see what kind of film or residue it leaves on the glass. I guess people call it lacing or whatever. I'm not sure. But we'll try a taste. Perfect. So as expected, like with most whiskeys, the longer you age them, the more they mature and develop. This is no different. This is really, really well balanced. Aged 10 years, it has a very peat forward flavor, very smooth, slightly sweet, but very peaty, which is delicious. This would be, again, good with a Dominican Puro or a Cuban cigar. Easily drinkable. Probably would never add an ice cube to this. At 46% alcohol by volume, No really hard bite to it like the 5-year, but nice and smooth and a really, really good scotch. And definitely of the three, I would say it's hands down the best. Yeah, perfectly balanced. So of the three, I would go ahead and rate the 10, 1. I would say the blend 2, and then the 5-year, I'd give a 3. Great whiskeys. On the back of each of these, I meant to show you guys, there's a neat little description that's on the side of the box with a nice lithograph type picture, which I think is really, really cool. A little gimmicky, but I really appreciate what Ardbeg has done with these. I'm glad that I bought it. I think it's a cool sampler if you're really wanting to get into the peaty style scotches, which there are a lot of them. I would suggest trying to find this. I think you can still find it like Benny's Beverage Depot and some of your other mega liquor retailers. But it's a really approachable, neat little sampler pack. I think it retailed for around $59.99 with 4 200 milliliter bottles. You could probably, and I think you can find each one of these bottles. So if you got the sampler, then you could go back and you could figure out which one you really wanted to try. But I really, really appreciate all of these. I think they're delicious. I'm probably going to end up drinking each and every one of these bottles and sharing it with some of my friends when they come over for spirit tastings. But I really like this one. I'm glad that I picked it up. I was on the fence, but I really love the smoky peaty scotches, and I wanted to get something where I could try several different ones. So you don't see that much with these major whiskey producers where they'll give you small samplers, and I really like this a lot, and I'm glad that I bought it still, and I recommend going out and getting it. So again, guys, sampling this baby up. I like the 10-year the best. I like the, what was it, the Ardbeg Anoa second best, and then the 5-year the third. But I liked all of them. They're all great. So I hope you guys appreciated this cool little Brewthirty with some whiskey. Let me know in the comments what you think of these if you're a Scotch or a whiskey fan. And in the meantime, guys, cheers.